Welcome into Behind Kentucky Football. I'm Curtis Birch. As always, we are presented by Thornton's. Stop by any Lexington Thornton's location and earn 5 cents off a gallon with your refreshing rewards card. It is Thanksgiving week and Louisville week, so we thought we'd have a guy who has a ton of experience in both of those things and an offensive lineman. We're joined by senior Luke Fortner. We're recording on Zoom, and it's a little bit earlier than most. We appreciate him jumping on early on a Tuesday morning. So I wanted to start off and ask, are you a coffee guy? How do you wake up in the morning?
Yep. I'm a coffee guy and a Star Wars guy as well.
For people listening on the podcast and not watching on Facebook, you just held up a baby. Wait, it's not Baby Yoda. What's the actual name?
I guess I'm not that big of a Star Wars guy. I just call him Baby Yoda the whole time.
It's like Goga or
Grogu.
There we go. Yeah. All right. So let's dive into some football, and then we'll wrap up with some Thanksgiving talk as we get going. Senior day, what was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. It was my second senior day in a row, so I really enjoyed it. And a lot of people, last year who had senior day walked off the field and thought it was their last time. And I did too. And I was lucky enough to get a second go around at it. So just getting to do it over, was really awesome. And I approached it much differently, I think.
What was the difference?
I think, I was able to enjoy it more because it wasn't last year. It was like, there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of sadness. This is the last time. It's over. I'm never coming back and doing this again. And this time it was like just 100% appreciation of the fact that I got to do it again. And I was really able to enjoy it.
On the field for that game, what were you able to accomplish as an offense? I guess Coach Stoops said it in his press conference when he was asked what was the key to victory. He goes, 700 yards of offense. So you guys accomplished a lot. But from your perspective, what did you guys do well in that game?
Yeah, I think we switched up the game plan pretty well. I think they were bringing pressure every play, and we didn't get to run it as much as an offensive line would like. And so I thought we did a really good job through the air, and I thought Will made some incredible passes. And Wandale, as always, was electric. And, anytime Justin Rigg has 2 TDs, it's a pretty good day.
Was there any joking around with Wandale? He put up almost, I think it was a top 4 all-time yardage performance, but just couldn't get in the end zone. I feel like he was tackled inside the 5 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we told him to unhitch the wagon for sure a couple times there because we all ran down with him thinking he'd score, and then we had to line up and run another play, and then we were a bit tired after that run, that's for sure.
You mentioned Justin Rigg, 2 touchdowns. Josh Ali also caught 2. That's got to feel cool to see your fellow seniors have big days on their senior days.
Yeah, and then Quandre got the score on the defensive side. So just seeing the seniors finish it out at home the right way was really awesome.
So we turned to Louisville, and Coach Stoops was making an interesting point about how, there's 2 classes of players that have not experienced this rivalry yet. Obviously, the freshmen, like every year, but also the sophomore / redshirt guys. So he was had an emphasis on making sure they kind of understand the rivalry, those guys. As one of the senior leaders, how are you kind of explaining it to the younger guys?
Yeah, I think we're just, repeating Coach Stoops' message and the fact that, I'm right now 3-1 against them, right? Lost to Lamar once, but other than that, we've won out against them. So just the fact that we want to keep it that way and that's the way it should be is what we're, trying to tell these younger guys.
How have you come to fully appreciate this rivalry coming from Ohio?
I personally, it's bigger for me than the Tennessee thing. And I don't know if, that's the wrong thing to say for a lot of people, but for me, I'd rather beat Louisville than beat Tennessee. You know what I mean? Obviously you'd like to beat them both, but beating Louisville for me does a lot more and feels a lot better. So I think I've appreciated it quite a bit coming from someone who grew up in the middle of Ohio State, Michigan. I think, Kentucky Louisville is it's probably on a smaller scale, but it's just as passionate, just as fiery as that game is.
Yeah, I think, the one thing that people often talk about is how there's no getting around it. And sometimes, I know you know this, with Ohio State, Michigan, it's a huge national thing. But if you're in Ohio, you're not seeing a ton of Michigan fans. If you're in Kentucky, you're seeing Louisville fans. And if you're a Louisville fan, you're seeing Kentucky fans. So
That's right.
No way to get around it. So let's dive into the actual game just a little bit. They've been playing well recently, or kind of on a big upswing. What are you seeing from their defense early on in some prep for this game?
Yeah, I think, you look at some of the earlier games, obviously when they started out the year and lost to Ole Miss, no one really knew how to take it. No one realized how good Ole Miss was actually going to be. So you look at a lot of their losses, and they've lost to good teams. I mean, NC State, Clemson, Ole Miss, and one more, Pitt, I think. Good teams, right? They've lost to good teams. They've played good teams. They've lost to them, and they are playing really hard on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know. I haven't watched too many of their earlier games, but I feel like they're really doing a good job of flying around, and you can tell that they've put it together in the last few games. And obviously on offense, Malik Cunningham's a really good player, and our defense is going to have to contain him. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think we just have to outwork them because they're playing really hard. They're flying to the ball.
You guys have faced dynamic offenses, it seems like, almost for a month straight now. So I know that puts some good pressure on you guys to make sure you're fully performing up to your standards and making sure you're doing everything you can, because Coach Stoops talks about complementary football. So you guys have to build off each other. I mean, when you're facing an offense that seems like it's hitting on all cylinders, does that rev you guys up?
Yeah, I mean, we just realized that the game is, they're going to score, right? As much as, hopefully they don't, but as good as they are and as good as they're playing right now, they're going to score at points. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many points they score as long as we score more. So I feel like it's up to the offense and up to us to win this game. And, it gives us a good motivation through the week, knowing, hey, it's going to be on us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How there's been some injuries, obviously, to the offensive line. Losing Eli Cox is a big hit for the season. What have you seen on your side there with Austin taking some snaps? And I think did Quentin get in some as well too?
Yeah, he got in there against Vandy at the right guard spot. Austin has been playing really good football, and he's a guy who's played a lot of football for a long time. So it wasn't much of a jump for him to step in there, and there wasn't too much pressure for him. So anytime Austin gets in there, he's ready to go. I think he was saying he hasn't played against Louisville since his freshman year. He was injured or something, and then he didn't get in one of the games. And so he's excited. He can't wait. He's good buddies with Cole Bentley over there, and they talk all the time. And so I think he's excited to get after him a little bit.
Yeah, a little personal rivalry.
Yeah.
The overall, the offensive line, how do you feel like you guys have gelled as a unit this year? Because it seems like you've been getting big performances from across the board. Darian, I know, has put up a great numbers. We mentioned Eli, winning offensive lineman of the week, yourself as well. How's the unit as a whole performed in your eyes?
Yeah, I think we've done really well. I think we've come a long way from where we started. Obviously, we knew DK was going to perform really well, right? He's been doing that for a long time. And I'm really, really proud of seeing the left side come along. Kenneth Horsey and Dare have, if you look at their first game compared to their games now, they've really figured it out and are playing together much better. And obviously, like you said, losing Eli was big. It was a big loss, but he was playing really good football there towards the end. And I think I'm really excited to see where this offensive line goes in the future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coaches get to tons of questions about Jagger because, local kid, but it feels like the offensive line is in a good spot going forward, and that's got to make you proud, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at those younger guys, Jagger Burton, John Young, two Kentucky kids that have really they've been really working hard. Even though they haven't gotten the snaps yet, I think they'll have a chance in the next couple of years. So really excited to watch them grow and become better football players. And I know Coach Wolford's going to make sure that happens.
The offense as a whole, I think Coach Cohen has kind of talked about this year how he's gotten readjusted to the college game. He was joking about when you guys went to Vandy and you practiced on the Titans field. He's like, oh yeah, I remember how these lines were. But how have I mean, if it feels like, and you look at the numbers, you guys are really starting to put up some good yardage points. How much more comfortable is everybody now than they were maybe at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean, we're miles away from where we were at the beginning of the season. You can rep as many plays as you want against our own defense in a practice setting, and it just isn't the same as getting up there and lining up in a game and running it. You know what I mean? So just the experience we've gained from the last 9 games, 10 games as a whole. 9 games, not 10 games, right? No, 11 games. I don't know. I'm old, whatever. 11 games as a whole.
This is hopefully your NBA teachers aren't.
Yeah, me too. Also, Louisville lost to Wake Forest, not Pitt. So I don't even know what I'm talking about. So in the last 11 games as a whole, we've gotten more experience than any of the offseason, any of the camp than we ever did. And I think you can really tell now what guys are getting good at, what guys have picked up, and what they've improved on since the offseason. And that's only going to continue. I mean, you know, you look at going into next year, you're going to have a whole offseason of in-game experience to draw on, as well as, you know, now we can get to the finer details. We don't have to worry about, you know, which way are we going on this play, or, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You personally, because you talked about having 2 senior days coming back with the extra year because of COVID. How much are you fully realizing that you made such the right decision? You had the position change, you got the center reps, you've been doing a great job at that. And I know we're not looking ahead too far, but, you know, pro potential now seems like it's more on the table than probably it was last year. So how happy are you that you came back for this extra season?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, I was happy when spring came around last year, but it just has solidified my decision and the way I feel about it as the year has gone on. And that's really because of UK, in my opinion. You know, it's because of Coach Cohen and Coach Wolford. It's because of Coach Ed and Coach Stoops, you know, giving me the opportunity to switch positions and, you know, making sure that I had everything I needed to come back and, you know, make an impact. So I'm just thankful that I had the second opportunity. You know, not a lot of people do. And so far it's worked out. Hopefully it continues to. Got to beat Louisville, though. I don't think I can go out on a Louisville loss. That'd be tough.
Yeah, for sure. The off the field aspect of that, because I did not get to click the link, but I think you were featured on a university story, right, for like the actual school. You and your couple of your teammates in one of the programs. Can you just discuss that a little bit and what that portion of your experience here has meant to you?
Yeah. So when I came back, you know, Coach Stoops and I had a conversation, and he was like, hey, you know, you could come back and really focus in on football, hone in on football. You know, you've gotten your degrees, you know, take some classes that, you know, you can manage and go to football and be all right. And I said, I think I'm going to get my MBA. I just don't think I can come back for another year and not do something with it. And so the MBA program at UK has been huge in helping me, and they've made a ton of accommodations for me, Quentin and Ruffalo. And then Will Levis is in the finance program, and they've been huge in helping us, you know, balance out our schedules, be able to go to class and practice and get the most out of each. So it's worked out well, and they've been super helpful on both sides, football and the business program. And, you know, I really love this university. I really do.
All right. So on the last edition of the show, and if you haven't already, go back and give a listen. We did a quote unquote special edition. We talked to Colin and Ruff. So Ruffalo and he were explaining to me that apparently, well, I mean, this isn't going to be shade to them because they tell us already they're weird. And one of their mantras this season is based off of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's part of the crew, part of the ship. They're the crew on the bigger ship, if you know the movie. So neither of them would answer this question. So I'm going to put it to you, since you have class with Ruff all the time. Who is Jack Sparrow of the Specialists?
So like the weirdest, most charismatic. Oh boy, I think it would be Chance. I would go with Chance 4. I think he's like, this might be shade. I don't know. I think he's like the weirdest, but also the easiest to talk to. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you had to stick me with one of them for like a year or something, I would probably take Chance. Ruffalo is right behind him, but I think I'd take Chance. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
it kind of does. Now, if we shift the question to like on a desert island, I might take Colin since he's a nurse, and if you get like stung by something like that.
But see, Colin's not weird enough to be Jack Sparrow. Colin's pretty normal. Yeah.
Yep, that's a positive and a negative. So, all right, let's wrap this one up. We're here on Thanksgiving week, so we got to talk some food with the O-line. Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Stuffing, easy. Yep, I mean, good stuffing or dressing or really anything that is just there to complement the turkey. You know what I mean? Turkey's good, but I think stuffing really makes or breaks the meal, in my opinion. Yep.
So do you even discriminate, like the stovetop, the oven?
No. I mean, you could get it in a box, throw it in the microwave, and I would kill it. Yeah. I don't even know how to make stuffing, to be honest with you. So I don't know if that's a good answer. All I know is every time I have it, it's really good.
And then what about on the dessert table? What kind of pie is a must for your Thanksgiving? Yeah,
I'm a classic pumpkin pie guy. I mean, I definitely don't discriminate against pies. I was just telling someone this, which just probably means I talk about pie too much, but pumpkin pie is with some whipped cream on top is unbeatable, in my opinion.
I don't think you can ever talk about pie too much.
Agreed.
So what about this week for you, though, as a team? Kind of walk people through what you guys are doing the various weeks, because it's weird. I mean, you got a game prep, but it's also Thanksgiving, so I know the coaches want to be able to have you guys strike a nice balance.
Yeah, so I've come to really enjoy this week. Actually, when you're a freshman and they tell you can't go home for Thanksgiving, you're like, oh, that sucks. But I've kind of learned to love it and enjoy it. So what we do is Wednesday nights, right before Thanksgiving, we'll go to our coach's house, or they'll take us out and they'll give us a meal and feed us and, have like a position group dinner just so that we're well fed before. And then Thursday we'll wake up and we'll do our normal walkthrough, and then they'll cater Thanksgiving food. So we'll get a massive turkey. We'll get some really good stuffing, some potatoes, the whole 9 yards. And we'll have a meal Thursday around noon 30. And then what they'll do is if you live, in the area, if you live in Kentucky or Cincinnati, you get a chance to go home Thursday afternoon, before we come back Friday. So like a guy like me who's 4.5 hours away, I won't go home, but a lot of guys get to go home. So I'll probably hit up Max Stuffy because I know he's not going home. So we'll probably hang out and watch some football or basketball together.
Awesome. And then when you're on that big, huge team Thanksgiving meal, who's the most impressive putting it away on the whole team?
It used to be Drake. So this year there'll be a new champion. I don't know who it'll be yet, but it used to be Drake for sure. All
right. Well, we'll have to get an update.
I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect, man. About to wrap up, but if you don't already, please follow and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks again to Thornton's for sponsoring us. Be sure to be following us on social media. If you're listening on podcast, as we mentioned, you can watch the video on our Facebook page. Luke, thank you so much for your time. Good week. Good luck this week against Louisville, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Curtis. Go Cats.